Welcome back, and we are still in this battle called life and fighting for the life of the unborn and the preciousness of it. Several months ago, we had Anne McElhinney with us. Her and her husband co-authored the book called Gosnell, and then it turned into a movie, The Untold Story of America's Most Prolific Serial Killer, and the trial of America's biggest serial killer. There's the picture of the cover of the book. I am so delighted to have Anne back with us today because the Gosnell movie is #3 new release on Amazon charts. Wow. Anne, good to see you again.
It's great to be here. And actually, we have an update on that. It's actually #1 now. So we're the #1 best-selling movie in DVDs on Amazon, ahead of A Star is Born, ahead of Bohemian Rhapsody and all those big movies. So it's kind of extraordinary, amazing. And it just shows how much of an appetite there is out there for this story, that people actually really want to know what happened here, why it was covered up, why they never got to hear about it. And it's kind of, I mean, we're actually quite surprised. I mean, people can go right now on Amazon, look for best-selling DVDs on Amazon, and we're the #1 in all categories.
Wow, congratulations. Congratulations. Why do you think there, all of a sudden, this topic, this story, and the subject of abortion is #1 on the minds of people?
I think a lot of things have changed since Roe v. Wade. I mean, if you think about it, there's no one now who hasn't seen an ultrasound, a sonogram. People are beginning to wake up to that. And actually young people who base a lot of their ideas on science and really want to be scientific, if they're being honest about anything, they know that this is not a piece of tissue, that this is an actual human life. And I think what our film does and what the book does is, for a lot of people, it's difficult to get your head around 50 million, 60 million dead babies. But it's not difficult to feel sorry and to feel the tragedy of the loss of one life. And so the story, for example, of the death of baby boy A, who was born alive in this clinic that Gosnell ran in Philadelphia, who lived for a short while, lived long enough for two of the workers at the clinic to take a photograph of him, a photograph that is now on the internet that is quite famous, of baby boy A. And then that baby was murdered. And, one of the things that came out of the trial, I think, for the jury and for people who read the book and who've seen the movie, is that the difference between what Gosnell did, which was murder, and he is serving 3 life sentences for the murders of individual children, including baby boy A, the difference between him and what's done routinely in clinics all over the United States is, who was it? Kristen, I can't remember her name now, actually, but one of the commentators basically said it's mere geography that there's a difference between those. The idea that one is okay and one is murder is morally irreconcilable, and I think I really think that's a really good way of putting it. And I think people are, hopefully tomorrow, I'd like to think tomorrow that the march would get the media coverage it deserves. We'll have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people marching in Washington, D.C., and indeed marching all over the country, who feel deeply the importance, as you said, how precious life is and how life needs protected. I mean, Ben Shapiro makes a great point that I like to quote. He says, in years to come, maybe in, decades to come, people will look back at this time and say, how is it even possible that this happened, that babies were murdered and that it was legal? I mean, it would be almost inconceivable for people to imagine that we lived in a time like that.
Much like the Holocaust,
Yeah, exactly. And in writing the book and interviewing people and doing the work on this story, the Holocaust came to mind a lot for me, and I mentioned it a lot in the book. Actually, there's a copy of the book. Actually, I think you see that.
Right.
That's actually the front cover of the book. But because it's kind of, in the same way with the Holocaust, where they basically said, oh, I didn't know it was happening. And, there was these smokestacks. And yet, it's very similar. This is going on all over America. And there are people, I think, there's 2 sets of people. I think there's the people who know what's going on, who are out there praying that it will stop, and activists all over the country who I've met a lot of now, who are just the best people ever, who just every day surprises me. Let me just quickly tell you a little anecdote. Yesterday, I discovered on Instagram a young woman who had seen our movie, was so moved by the story of baby boy A, like so touched by the life and the death of that child, that she got a tattoo of A, and she's put it on her wrist to remind her of him for the rest of her life, that she will think and pray about him and for all the other children who have died. And I was blown away by this. It's on Instagram. She's just a young girl. Her name is Autumn. And I just thought, you know, incredible. This is the effect it's had on people. And people who've seen the movie, and the movie will be out on DVD on the 5th of February, but people can buy it now. They can go to Amazon and buy it now, or they can go to Walmart. It'll be in Walmart as well. And it'll be on VOD, by the way, video on demand, on the 22nd, on Tuesday, January the 22nd. People can go on their TVs and find it. And people, you know, the response that we've had when people have watched it in theaters, I mean, it's been incredible. I mean, we didn't, who knows, you know, we never knew when we put it out exactly how people would react. People sat, because through the credits, I think you've seen the film, so you know, through the credits, we show images that basically back up everything that is shown in the movie. We show the real pictures of Gosnell, of you know, Detective Jim Wood, of the turtles that were shown on the clinic, the cats, etc., all this kind of stuff. People sit throughout the credits, also probably because there is an incredible song by Five for Fighting, John Ondrasik, called Song of the Innocents, that plays through the credits. And people sat in complete silence. All over the country, we got this response from people, where people sat in complete silence. The film completely ended, and people either left in total silence and went into their cars. Some people prayed, people wrote to us, people wrote on Twitter. Some people, in a couple of cinemas we know of, somebody would stand up and say, does anyone here want to pray? And people prayed together.
Wow.
People spontaneously hugged each other and said, what are we going to do? How do we stop this? People wrote to us and said that they were going to dedicate the rest of their lives to trying to stop this.
Yes.
It's actually quite
wow.
Quite incredible. I think what the film did, you know, the film is not preachy. It's not, you know, it's not a pro-life activist film. It's a film that tells the truth. It just tells the story of what happened. And the testimony, particularly the testimony from Janine Turner, the lawyer, Janine Turner, the abortion doctor who took the stand. Janine Turner is the actress who represents the two good abortion doctors who took the stand during the trial to help the jury distinguish between a legal abortion and murder. And I can tell you that the jury found the description of legal abortion the most shocking part of the whole trial. And we made the movie, just so you know, a little background. Yeah. We made the movie specifically for that particular scene. Yeah. That scene, we said, had to be in the movie. That was what was really important to us. So we're so gratified by that. We're gratified that the film is coming out, that it's doing so well. And
something's happening. Some recent research and polling has showed that over 70% of Americans now want limitations on abortions. The millennials want to see alternatives to abortion. This thing is turning. Something's happening, and I can't help but think that your movie is a huge part of it, but there is a move in the right direction. It's got to give you hope, don't you think?
No, it does. It really does. It's actually kind of extraordinary, but it makes sense. And I think what our film, you know, we have over the country, there are all these activists, there's people doing all kinds of work. Our small part of that, I think, is to reach an audience who are difficult to get at, who, you know, the people who are on the fence or people who have decided that for sure they're pro-choice. We have seen the effect of this film. And you've read some of the stories. You know, there's Patrick Corralesh, the guy who's the media entrepreneur here in Los Angeles, who gave an interview, who said he sat and watched the movie in a movie theater, and he was single-mindedly changed in that 1.5-hour stint from being pro-choice to being pro-life. We also have the example of a young Asian girl who also has a big blog, who's quite famous, who watched the movie and has decided she is pro-life, just like that.
Okay.
And those are the stories. That's the part that we're playing, and that's why people need to buy the DVD. And here's what I would ask people to do: get the DVD in Walmart, on Amazon, and ask people from your neighborhood, friends, relatives, particularly people, and get at them and get them to come and watch it in your house.
Gotta go. Thank you, Anne. God bless you. Congratulations again. #1. Video release on Amazon. Check it out. Get a copy. Share it with your friends. And God bless you. Let's stay connected. You are wonderful.
Yeah. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. God bless.
God bless you. All right. Again, you can go to gosnellmovie.com. That's the website, gosnellmovie.com. And if you're on Amazon, it's the #1 movie video release. Catch it or check out the book as well. I think you'll find it to be very informative. All right, we'll see you next time on Focus Today.